he lived in my garage for like 5 years. He and I are buddies. We had a little falling out, and now we're coming together. We're all good now. UFC 287 fight picks by a UFC fighter, or a longtime UFC fighter, a UFC veteran, as they say. My name is Smile Sam Alvey. I've been in the UFC for most of the last decade. My last fight with them was my last fight with them, but I'm going to win a couple and see if I can't get back. Anyways, UFC 287. It's a lot of fights that I don't want to pick either way. There's a lot of fights on this card that are intimidating to pick one side or another because I can justify some of the fighters not winning who I think are going to win. And you should all know, I researched all of them. I picked the fighter before I saw the betting odds. Some of the betting odds favor me, but it is what it is. So we're going to start off at the very beginning. The very first fight of the main card, Raul Rojas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. It's a good fight. Now, it's a good fight because Rojas Jr. is supposed to win. He is the poster boy of what UFC fighters are going to become. They're getting younger and younger. Pretty soon we will have babies fighting in the UFC, and they're going to be badass. Think of Dragon Ball Z. You know, it took 18 seasons before Goku became a Super Saiyan, and then Trunks and Goten, they just... boom, they were Super Saiyan by like age 5. It's kind of like that. Rojas Jr. is the Super Saiyan, and he's only 18 or 19 years old. He's still in high school. He's supposed to win. And it's hard to just pick him because he's so young. He's so inexperienced. He's 7-0. Now, Rodriguez is 8-1, so he has a loss. He has a good record. He has a loss. And he's been tested a little bit more. He's fought tougher guys than Rojas has. I am taking Rojas, though. Not so much because of how good he is and how bad Rodriguez is. He's great. Rojas is great, too. It's because he's supposed to win. I made a post earlier this week on TikTok. I think I did on Instagram, too, saying fights aren't scripted, but the people who are supposed to win often win, and this is one of those. I'm sure UFC wants Rojas Jr. to win. He's young. He's very sellable, very marketable. If he can get a couple big wins, and he's one, they'll probably slow play him. They'll feed him some guys that are not ranked until they start ranking him a little bit. But it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a slow burn, I suspect, for him. But I am taking him to win. Now, for the second fight of the main card, we have Ponzinibbio against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is kind of like Rojas. He is supposed to win. He has been supposing to win many of his last fights. However, he's not. Now, Khamzat, he got mauled by Khamzat, taken down immediately. And it was a short notice fight. I get it. But it was a rough go for him. Stephen Thompson, going into the fourth round or going into the fifth round, he tapped. He didn't answer the bell. He was kind of, I don't know. It showed something to me. So he's coming off 2 losses. Those 2 losses were against top tier guys. Ponzinibbio's coming off a win. He has a couple losses before that. But if you look at the power of their records, Ponzinibbio has beaten some good guys. And Kevin Holland has beaten a good guy or two, and then he's had very entertaining losses. He's a good fighter. People love the way he talks. He's a fighter that is supposed to win. He is, like I said at the beginning, I picked all my fighters and then checked if they're the favorite or not. He is the favorite. However, I'm taking Ponzinibbio. I think he's too active on the feet. I think he's going to find a way to connect. I think Kevin Holland is going to have to shoot. He's got good jiu-jitsu. It's not great wrestling. It's good wrestling. It's not great jiu-jitsu. It's tricky jiu-jitsu. I think Ponzinibbio knows that. Ponzinibbio is going to be able to find a home. He's going to work those leg kicks in. He's going to work some spinning stuff, which that actually does make me nervous. The spinning stuff doesn't work often, but when it works, everyone remembers. I think he has the bigger heart for 3 rounds to throw everything he has into it. I'm taking Ponzinibbio in this one, although I really do. Moving on up on the card. So now we have Adrian Yanez versus Rob Font. What a fun fight. Both guys have bombs in their hand. Rob Font is kind of known for having the ability to knock anyone out at any time. If he were to go up 6 weight classes and fight Francis Ngannou, Rob Font might have the ability to knock him out. Like a Hadouken and leap into the air. However, Adrian Yanez hasn't lost a fight in 5 or 6 years. He has had one impressive streak of dominant knockout victories. He had a split decision in there somewhere, but we'll forget about that one. Everything else has been just a murder of everyone. I mean, first round knockout, first round TKO, third round doctor stoppage. He's been killing it. So we're taking Adrian Yanez in this one. I do expect this fight could be fight of the night. I think these two will both respect each other's power. I do think Yanez is going to come in there and be able to mix up everything a little better than Font does. I think Font's going to be backing up more than he probably should, get caught on that back foot, and maybe not dropped, but strongly outpointed, taken down, TKO'd. I do see it being a finish, probably later in the fight. I think Font is going to start off strong. If Font's going to win, it's going to be in the first round. Yanez, he will be able to go a little bit longer. He'll win the rounds and then finish the fight. I'm going to say late in the second, maybe early, halfway through the third or late in the second. That's my prediction. But I would just take him for the win. And yeah, let's go. It's time for the people's main event. This is the fight everybody's kind of excited for. Everyone kind of knows what's going to happen, but everyone's also hoping for something else to happen. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. I said it right this time, Masvidal. Now, everybody remembers Masvidal. Flying knee knockout of Ben Askren. A fight he probably should have lost, but just landed that knee perfectly. So we all know it can happen. Will it happen twice? I don't think so. I'm taking Burns, and Burns is a huge favorite. He's a huge overdog. He is for a reason. The way Gilbert Burns just had his way with Neil Magny was inspiring. I didn't think it was possible. Neil Magny has good takedown defense. He has a huge range. He has a great camp. And Burns just said, whatever, took him down, mauled him. I kind of think it's going to be the same way. If Masvidal was able to get into Burns' head and convince Burns to, box with them a little bit, throw the old fisticuffs, maybe Masvidal has the chance. Masvidal does have the better stand-up. He doesn't have the power like Burns does. Burns has some oomph in there. And if you see him at weigh-ins, Burns was bigger. I wasn't expecting that. Masvidal must be a smaller 70 than I thought, because I know Burns is thick. He's thick, but he's not huge. He's never looked huge to me, but he looked bigger than Jorge. So he has that power. I don't think he's going to need it. I think he's going to just come in, throw that big overhand, attach himself to Jorge. Now, in Masvidal's favor, he's been working with Bo Nichols. There's nobody in the UFC right now, maybe Henry Cejudo, but he hasn't fought in a while, that has better grappling than Bo Nichols. It's a different type of grappling, and I can definitely see working with Bo Nichols so much for the entire camp, leading to a guy to think, if I can stop Bo, I can stop Gilbert, and then not stop Gilbert. You can't learn how to be a great defensive wrestler in a camp. And I think Burns is going to get in there. Burns is not going to get flying kneed. Burns is going to get taken down. Burns is going to get submitted. No. Burns is... Switch all that. Burns is going to win. He's going to win by submission. I'm going to say round 1. For the main event, we have Izzy, the Stylebender, Alessandra versus Alex. What do we call him? Frankenstein now? Frankenstein Pereira. Pereira. You roll R's in that language. Izzy's 0-3 against him. He might have won one. He's 0-3 against him, yet he is, as far as rounds go, he's only lost 3 rounds out of 15. So he's 15 out of 18 rounds, 0-3 in fights. But that's the fight game. That's the way it works. Izzy has put a hurting on him every time they fight. He just can't get the finish on him. Alex was definitely opened up to takedowns. I don't think Alex beats anyone else in the 85 division except maybe Izzy. Because everybody else from here on out, even Whitaker, is going to go in there, shoot on him, take him down, maul him. That is everyone's game plan. Is it going to be Izzy's game plan? I kind of hope it is. I would love to see that out of Izzy. I don't think he's going to do it, but I would love to see, bell rings, come in, touch gloves or whatever, take a big shot, put him on his head, a little TKO action. I would love to see it. If that doesn't happen, Izzy will beat him up again on the feet, outpoint him, moving and grooving. I don't believe the getting in his head thing. I don't think that's the case because Izzy has put hurting on him every time they fought, but he's lost every time they fought. I am taking Izzy in this fight. Also, it's a numbers game. He can't lose 4 times in a row. It can't happen. Oh, it would surprise me like nobody's business if he loses 4 in a row. I'm betting on Izzy. I'm putting all my fights in a parlay. Izzy wins this one. I want to see a finish. I think Izzy finishes him. I think Izzy's pissed off. I think Izzy gets it. And worst case scenario, Izzy will just shoot, take him down. One more bonus fight. Chris Curtis versus Kevin Gastelum. I'm taking Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is going to win by decision. I think if you bet on him to win by decision, he's like plus 185. I think Curtis is just going to outbox Kevin. I think he's going to go to town on him. I think he's going to be able to sprawl on the shots, attack off the clinch break, and I think by the end of round 2, Gastelum is going to just be looking for a way out. I don't think Curtis is a finisher, and he would admit it too. He's a very dominant decisioner. He lived in my garage for like 5 years. He and I are buddies. We had a little falling out, and now we're coming together. We're all good now. But I'm taking Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis gets this win. And I think he does it by a very dominant decision. If the Rob Font fight isn't the fight of the night, this has every potential to be, because I think it's going to be a boxing clinic, and Curtis is going to win by a very dominant decision. Oh, and as I've told everyone from the beginning, I am betting all of my picks in a parlay. So what's that? 6-fight parlay? They're hard to hit, but if I put $50 on it, wins me like $825. However, I did make a mistake. When I placed the bet, I clicked the wrong one. I picked Holland, and I'm thinking Ponzinibbio is going to win. So I'm kind of rooting for Holland now because Holland is on my bet slip. But just so you know, I'm picking Ponzinibbio. So whoever wins, I won. Enjoy this, share this, tell people, bet with me. Let me know how much money you make because of it. Love you guys. Thanks for helping this page grow.